Peter Franklin is the Gabby Cabby in New York City, and he's standing by right now. Peter, good morning.
No, sitting. Cab drivers sit.
That's a very good point.
Yes.
Peter Franklin is standing in New York City, sitting in New York City, sitting in New York City, sitting by in New York City. All right, Peter, every week we look into your true tales of the great city of New York. And an interesting story here about the unrest in Israel caused by moving of the USA Embassy. Riots and killings, injuries, all of this going on in the Middle East. What is your take as a Jewish American? What is your take on this?
Well, first of all, I'm not Jewish, and I'm not an American.
Oh.
I happen to be a black guy from Jamaica.
I knew that. Why have I not let that sink in?
So your anti-Semitic slurs will not work on me this morning, buddy.
That's true. Good point.
But in any event, we have a huge, last time I looked, if you want, I'll count them for you, huge Jewish population, and we have a huge Arab-Muslim population. You wouldn't know there was anybody in the Middle East bothered. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't isolated people who aren't upset, bothered, and want to hate somebody, but generally it never ceases to amaze me about this city that you can have people who over there hate each other, and over here they hang out on the street corner, and that's it. So you can travel the streets, Atlantic Avenue, Brooklyn, Bensonhurst, you don't have a clue. You don't even see a sign down with this, up with that. It's when I'm most proud of this city.
The only thing I've ever seen in New York, and it is a bit scary, and I don't know that they still are out in the Times Square area, what is their group called? The Black Muslim Brotherhood or
yeah, well, they're very intense. They're very strict. They think the white person, not all of them.
Very
generalization.
Yeah.
They think that white people are devils, but they're people. They're extremists, but they're not dangerous. They don't believe in. They look scary, but they don't do any kind of violence. And as a matter of fact, I think if somebody was beating the heck out of you on the street of New York, they'd be the first to help you. They look scary. It's like some grade B movie.
I have actually. I interviewed when we were down there doing a show once. I actually interviewed them, and they talk about the plight and all of that. But they do. It is a little scary when you're a guy from upstate and you're walking down through Times Square for the first time. I'm not sure that you see them in Times Square anymore. It used to be years ago.
Yeah, it's a fundraising thing too. There's a little bit of a gimmick, but it's like everything else. I mean, when we have people in New York City, some are extremists and crazy, but other, legitimately feel. It's the same thing like the Hare Krishna, and you got the Orthodox Jewish sects, SECT, that, will come up and try to convince you to convert to some kind of Orthodox Judaism. That's the charm of New York, and that's one of the reasons why I urge people when you come here. It's all very nice to see the Statue of Liberty in the Empire State Building, but what I do, and what I think everybody should do, whether it be with me or not, is go to the neighborhood.
Right,
that's where it's just fantastic.
Yeah. I will say the one thing that I felt was a little dangerous was the Scientology, which is in Times Square. They have a big church office headquarters in Times Square. And
it's funny that you should say that, because the other day I met one of them, and they said the thing that scares them the most is Upstate talk show hosts.
You're right. You're right. You're right. It's me. Well, I have to tell you, we tried to interview them, and two big guys picked me right up off my feet. Walked me out. My feet were dangling as I was headed out. That was kind of a fun moment. Three men.
You're under my arm of my protection here. Nobody messes with you.
3 men rip a mailbox out of the concrete on 67th Road and Yellowstone Boulevard in Forest Hills about 3 o'clock in the morning. What happened there?
Yeah, I'll be the first to tell you. I mean, it's not funny. It's stealing. It's robbing. It's messing up people's lives for the mail and everything. But the idea was that they were going to, take the mailbox and I guess take it back to their lair and look in it and get all the stuff out of it. But the amount of effort and the amount of work that they did, those things are bolted to the ground. So there is an element of a Woody Allen movie in it. And then as they start to drive off, the picture that I have on the website, except I don't know that it's still up on the website, but it's a picture of the back of the car is open. So if these guys are driving along, you can just see, as the cops did, the mailbox hanging out of the back of the car.
Wow, that's a funny sight. How about the story of the NYPD captain who had filed a complaint against superiors over racist comments is now, the spotlight's now on him.
Yeah, well, he's been. I mean, we've run into this. We run into this as a guard at the Manhattan Detention Center, the Brooklyn Detention Center, the prisoners, the cops. It's not everybody. Again, I want to make that clear. But it's these crazy guys who go after women, and it never ceases to amaze me. Also, like the guy at the Brooklyn prison who was messing around with women prisoners. Guy's making $80,000 a year, and now he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail. That's some trade-off. So you got to be, unbelievably stupid.
Well, look at the Attorney General. Talk about unbelievably stupid.
Unbelievably stupid.
Yeah.
The guy who's going to be in big trouble, though, this week is Cohn.
It does seem that way, right?
And I hate him. And the reason I'm going to say that is you let me say things like that.
Yeah.
He is one of the masters of the taxi industry in New York City, which has never been really brought out. He's the slumlord of the cab industry.
Really?
And I think now that he and his partner have been drawn to the attention of the FBI, Mr. Trump had to worry a little bit about this guy.
I do not think he's as loyal as his next check. I really think that the people that have talked about him as someone they don't trust to keep quiet or even to make up stuff.
Yeah, but you know what happens when you're sitting with some guy and he says, look, if you tell me what I want to know, you can go home today and get a pizza.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might spend the next 15 years. But, I mean, the taxi industry in New York City is just thoroughly corrupt. And for years, people here have complained to the FBI about these guys, and there's never been any interest at all. Now, all of a sudden, because it appears like it's a way to get Trump, the FBI is interested.
Yeah. Best tour in New York City. Peter will take you along with commentary. That's the most important part of the whole thing. He'll take you to the neighborhoods, the places that you probably would not even think to go to. It shows you the real New York City. It's Gabby.com for details.
You for that.
Peter, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye-bye.
wonderful Memorial Day weekend. And away he goes.